All right, I got disconnected, but I got back in time, and I got to choose to play first, and I've got a really strong starting hand, so this is all going according to plan. I'm playing against a Nana, who I think is my second favorite hero, maybe. She's pretty good. The opponent mulligans, that helps me as well. I like Inanna. She makes phantoms when stuff dies. She's quite good. She's really, really good for breaking tempo decks. She's my when I'm playing red white aggro, she's my least favorite deck to play against because also my deck has so many one toughness troops. It's probably going to be pretty strong against my deck here as well. But you know me, I love my aggro. So here, what do I want to do? I'm probably going to push straight into the Ashwood Blade Master. Oops. He's been tainted. No. He's going to be really regretting that he didn't save that for when he sees the Ashwood Blade Master come out. Maybe he's holding two of them. I don't know. And you can argue that breaking my tempo is worth it. And actually, in his position, I probably would have made the same play. Because he's probably assuming, or she, I guess, if we're gendering by the hero, she's probably assuming that I'm playing ramp, which I am not. I'm playing aggro. And so that is pretty cool for me. Now, what do I want to do here? I guess I could buff this guy. The other temptation is to buff this, but I'd rather have two threats, so I'm going to keep... I'm going to buff this guy, even though the other one's stronger with both buffs on him. Because white-black with Etherealize, with Taint, with Vampiric Kiss, it's one of the most removal-heavy colors and color combinations. My deck's going off pretty hard right now. Next turn I can Pyro Knight. He really, really, really needs a blocker. So that was good for him. What does that have? Rage? Yeah, Rage. Shouldn't that be bigger? Yeah, it's a 2/4 Rage. Cool. End turn. Nice. Niblins. Here, I guess we'll play red again. Probably what I'm going to do is buff... Can't be blocked by creatures with attack, less than attack, so... If I buff him here and then I drop the Pyro Knight, then both of them are essentially unblockable. Or at least one's unblockable and one would be silly to block. And I hit him to the dome for quite a few. And this is a cool situation because, one, he's low on the old life, but two, he's probably feeling a little bit insecure now. Because he's going to want to attack with this. This is ultimately an aggro card because it's got rage on it, but he can't really attack because he's on such low life. So that's exactly where I want to put him. At this point, I can buff my elves, so that makes him... I should have waited until after I'd attacked for that. Can't be blocked by attack, less than attack. Cool. So there... I'm going to hold off on attacking with the Pyro Knight, because that's the only safe block he can make. And I'd rather have the extra troop next turn. Soothing Breeze, there we go. So now is he going to take out the first striker or the unblockable? Interesting question. What's he going to do? So he's taking out the unblockable. I think that's a tough call to make, but it's the right call. This guy's more of a late game threat, but he's more of an immediate threat. So kudos to that guy, to Mr. Frupp. That was definitely the right play. And we'll see how many more combat tricks he has. Next turn when I drop my shard, what I can do is I can buff... I'll probably buff him to a 4/2 so that at least that's not a clean trade for him. And then I'll attack with the Skirmisher as well. I can make a 5/5. That puts him in a pretty tricky position. I've got the Ripper as well. I would rather have the freedom of the skirmisher, I think. Maybe I can do something sneaky with that later, sneaking damage around the edges. Here, I don't even know what I'd do if I'm him here. I mean, he loses, actually, unless he's got a pretty nice trick. Let's see what he's got. Oh, Pride's Fall. That was a beautiful, beautiful play. I actually made a huge mistake because 7 was enough to kill him, and I pumped him one too far because I got greedy there. Still, I've cleared his board. My board's pretty threatening. Yeah, we'll see. I'm always annoyed. I mean, I'm in the stronger position, but like, I'm still like, every time I make a mistake like that where I could have taken the game, I just want to. I almost feel there should be like good play police who come up and taser me if I make a play like that or a misplay. So let's see. Now I shamefully socket my guys. Deals damage. Although, what am I? Right? Green. So he's playing this sort of stalling stuff. What did he have in there? I think that's probably the strongest. I like this one as well, the Major Wild Orb of Empowerment. +5 attack, +2 life to something, but I don't really have the evasion for that to make sense, so I'll just stick with the basic 5 damage to the head. And the Relic of Nulzon. The good news is I got pretty lucky not drawing these guys. And so now, obviously, that I'm reserved in, it's like they're sorted for the rest of the game. Control. Crush is pretty good against control, especially if he's trying to slow me down like he probably is. I'm always a little bit torn in a matchup like this, because on the one hand, you go like all aggro, and you're just like rah, rah, rah. And on the other hand, you put in some late game cards. And I'm going to put in the late game cards, especially with Smash to the Ground. Having at least something that has Crush will be pretty helpful, I think. Maybe I want my Sandstone Rumbler to be a 7-4. 7-4, 7-4. No, that's still pretty chump blockable. Flaring Passions is a control play. Do I like that? No. Yeah, we'll just keep going there. That looks about right. I'm quite pleased with the way this deck is playing out. And remember, it's like people don't typically play this deck, and you saw me if you were, I guess if you were paying attention to the card picking, that I gave up some really good. So the opponent's mulligan. I've got a 1-drop and I've got 2 wild shards, but my 2-drops are all red. I'm not sure what to do here. I'll keep it. Yeah, I mean, you saw me during the drafting stage giving up some like big green and red creatures and not taking them. And like the basis, like what I was arguing at the time was that I thought that like partial ramp makes sense, right? It's like you use a few of the cards. You can play like with some of the green and the red stuff. You can play slightly bigger, slightly heavier on the curve than you normally would. But ultimately, you still go quite aggro, and you value those little guys. Yeah, so that's what I've done, and so far it seems okay. Now this game, he's off to a really good start, and I'm just not drawing the red that I would quite like to see. At least starting next turn, I can buff my Niblin. Hopefully that allows me to stall the game a little bit. So he's going to attack with 1 and keep 1 back on the block, which seems like a fine play. That's probably what I would do if I was him, because it's nice to start getting your spirits. Well, we've got lots of resources for the Niblin. And here, I don't love giving him spirits or anything, but I've got to get through them at some point, so I may as well start getting through them now. He may have the white combat trick, the +2/+2. That would be pretty powerful. Yeah, there it is. So that was a really, really beneficial trade for him. He gets a spirit, I lose my only troop. I guess he probably doesn't realize how bad my hand is. It's such a shame. It was like, it could have been so good. But anyway, maybe at least on the bright side, he's not putting too much damage on me right now. And I burned a combat trick, which could have removed a more serious threat from me later on. I've now got my ruby, so what do I want to do with that? Probably the obvious choice is the Deathmask Assailant and the Wolvier Basher, and then next turn bring in the Ripper and attack with all three. So I'll go ahead and take the obvious choice. And you can see, actually, he's getting shard screwed here as well, which is really not ideal for him. I hadn't noticed that before. So given the situation, I've got to feel pretty grateful, actually, because at least my resource base was growing with the greens, and now I'm in a position to exploit it. And this guy should be unblockable, which is nice. Ooh, that's mean. So here I'm going to play the Blade Master, and I'm going to play the Ripper, and I'm going to shift speed over to the Blade Master. And then I think I pretty much win this game. It doesn't help that he has no resources. That's a bit of a shame. I would have liked to have had a good game with him, especially after such a strong start. But if anyone has the capacity to stall, he does, given his... Why did I only hit for 5 there? Had he... Oh, he'd gained 2 life, that's right. So he was at 21, I think, or maybe 22. More stall. 3 Spirit-Bound Spies. That's a really nice draft. Obviously, little consolation, but it's still, I mean, that's a good pull. Let's see what I get here. Something fun? Yeah, that's totally fun. So, he's unblockable. I've only got the 1 red, so I can't use the hero ability, sadly. I've only got 1 elf at the moment, so his pump isn't that handy. So I'll probably just go all in. Charge! And he can just keep stalling. It's the beautiful, beautiful thing about what he's doing. Like, I could have done smash to the ground on that guy, but let's keep him alive. But it doesn't make sense because he'll trade off for it soon anyway. And it's more important to keep it as a sneaky finisher, especially while I have the higher number of troops. Wow, his 4th Spirit-Bound Spy. That's amazing. I can see why this guy was in the finals, because that's like a really, really strong set of cards. Sylvan Performer. When you pay expensive stuff, you get bonuses. I'm not that worried about that, so I'll probably just charge. Let's see what he blocks here. He's starting to get into the kill zone with Smash to the Ground. He might have... Did he give it to me? So 3 and 5... No, wait. 4. Well, only do 4, so I can't do it there. So better to pump. I should have actually played the Sylvan Performer first. I always forget that I've got to pay attention to my other elves. But there's another elf, so she should be a 3/2 rather than a 2/2. This next troop gets life drain, but I don't imagine that helping. Enters turn. First blood. That helps make my Basher a little bit scarier. Yeah, and that ends the game. So I think I took a reasonable first there. I didn't play against the strongest decks. Ooh, a primal, fun. Didn't play against the strongest decks, but they're pretty reasonable. It was interesting. What was the heroes there? I'll do a quick like recap. Obviously, you saw like the Ashwood Blade Master is always a winner. He's like an awesome early game threat, and he really follows through. There's the little whoops, the alternate art Duplicitous Duke looking quite ominous. The Relic. I mean, I was always happy to have him on the board. He's nice, but I wouldn't say he was an MVP. There was one game where this guy was my hero, or this girl. Although she'd also taken the +2/+2 buff from the Prophecy guy. The Sandstone Rumbler didn't really get to see any play. The Smash to the Ground, I drew that a couple times. I was always happy to be holding it because it makes me feel confident, even though it didn't actually determine any games, but it's good to have. What else was good? First Blood was surprisingly useful in this game, and you saw the amount of pressure I was able to put on with the Deathmask Assailant and the Emberleaf Duelist, so both of those are really good. The Deadeye Ripper had a couple tricks in them. It's like, gosh, this is why I love the red so much. Skewer I should have won a game with, but I messed up. Or maybe that was last draft. Yeah, I think that was last draft. I totally whiffed it. Wait, what was that? Look at that. It's like a nice, just very, whatever, aligned. The Wolvear Basher, in that last game in the finals, the Wolvear Basher was an awesome threat, and I think he ended up actually doing pretty cool stuff alongside First Blood. All of that helps keep up the pressure. And then it was really nice to be able to shut down Maple Leaf, or whatever he's called, with just like the curving out. So overall, I feel pleased with the red-green aggro. I think that's an interesting deck that maybe more people should play, and just give like more priority to like the Niblins and the red furs and the little guys. Although actually it was mostly the green that. Oh no, actually Storm Drummer, he turned the Boomsmith into that win condition, and then she was a win condition as well. So actually, even though there weren't that many green cards, the green cards did win me a couple clutch moments. So anyway, yeah, have a good one.